Hey, what's up? It's Eva Shaw. I'm a music producer and DJ from Toronto, Canada, and you're watching the Progress Report.
The Progress Report.
All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Lalaa Shepard. This is Conversations with Lalaa, and today I am honored to be talking to the lovely Miss Eva Shaw. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So today we just want to talk about just all the stuff that you do, your music, your background, upbringing, and then maybe get some advice at the end. So I will let you do your official introduction, but just from my viewpoint, you do so much. You're DJ, you're a fashionista, you're an artist, you're a writer. So how would you introduce yourself to somebody?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me because the platform
Absolutely.
is really, really dope. I checked it out and I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a producer and a DJ, as you mentioned.
Right.
And yeah, I'm from Toronto, Canada. And
Okay.
I started my career in New York. So I kind of consider myself like half New Yorker, half Canadian, I guess.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, so what made you move to New York?
I actually moved to New York because I wanted to be an actress. So my
Got
like
you.
ultimate dream was to be a comedic actress on like SNL. So like that's what I wanted to do. But
Interesting.
yeah, I mean it didn't work out that way, but luckily I knew how to DJ and stuff. So I started getting some gigs and just kind of did it on the side. And then I
Got
just
you.
never left. So yeah.
You know, it's crazy like that sometimes. When in the entertainment field, sometimes you go into a situation wanting to do one thing and then, it ended up being something else and you fall in love with that thing. But talk about that experience for you though. Like, when did you get to a point where you was just like, I actually like what I'm doing, so I'm gonna really put all of my energy into this.
I mean, I think it's hard when you're interested in a lot of different things.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I was also playing a lot of sports as a kid. And so
got you.
there's a period where I wanted to like be in the Olympics for track. Like, I mean, that never
Okay.
would have happened, but I was pretty fast. So you never know.
Got you.
Yeah, I liked playing basketball and stuff. And I also
Okay.
liked acting and all of the arts. So like I thought maybe I could be a singer, I
Mm,
could be in like a girl group or something.
okay.
I really liked TLC as a little kid, so um,
Definitely.
I wanted to basically be T-Boz. So, like,
Right. T-Bars. Oh my God. Yeah.
unfortunately, my singing voice isn't as good as hers. So,
Right.
um,
Mine either.
I mean, I think that I sort of wrote off music as a profession just because, like, although I was interested in it for a long time, I think
Mm,
I just was like, what am I going to do in the music industry? And I never
hmm.
thought about, why don't I be a producer? Like that didn't
Right.
occur to me ever. And I think maybe just because I never saw any female music producers, um,
Interesting.
especially not DJs either. Like, I
Right.
mean,
Right.
I never really heard about DJing at all. Like I knew it was a thing, obviously,
True.
but like I didn't think about it as like in terms of
A
touring
reality.
and festivals and that kind of thing. So
Definitely.
yeah, I think when I saw like Dead Mouse or something, the
Okay.
electronic DJ. I saw him performing somewhere and I was like, this looks so cool. Like I want to try it.
Mm,
So it's funny because like I didn't grow up listening to electronic music, but that's like what I started producing first. Just I don't know, I think
interesting.
because I met people in the industry that were
Mm,
making that kind of music and DJing that kind of stuff. So that's like kind of what I was exposed to with it.
got you.
Yeah. So I'm not like a
Okay.
house head or anything, but I kind of like got into this like direction of doing that kind of music. And
Interesting.
yeah, I mean in New York, like when I first moved there, I think most of the clubs were playing like mashup, so a lot of EDM
Mm,
mixed with hip
right.
hop.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean for me it was just kind of like I did it for fun for a little bit, and
Hmm.
then eventually people started paying me for it. So I was just like, I like this and now I can make music my career, so like why not. So
Definitely, definitely. And I respect that. I love it. Like I said, I love the fact that you embrace something that you just happen to run into. Because at first you were going to do acting, but then you just happen to be interested in DJing as well, and just kind of took that full force. So I respect that. I actually went to St. John's, New York, so I moved to New York as well. So I
Oh,
get it. New
cool.
York is just one of those places. Like if you're interested in entertainment, I feel like it's just a place to be. So I totally get the
Yeah.
interest in the move. But I do want to know more about your upbringing though. So like what type of music did you come up listening to? I heard you say TLC, but who
Yeah.
else?
I had like such a wide range of music, and I think coming from Toronto, that's probably part of it. Like,
Right.
I mean, I grew up in an area that had like every kind of cultural, like you can imagine, like different foods, different music. And my dad was a jazz musician, so he kind of listened to like a lot of underground jazz stuff. Like I
Dope.
couldn't really name it, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
I mean, he stopped doing it because he was booked for a lot of like more commercial gigs, and he wasn't really into like you know, the really commercial stuff, and everybody wanted to hear like, car wash or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up like with him constantly playing music. Both him and
Mm.
my mom, they actually met at a jazz club. So they're
Oh
both like
wow.
they both love music.
Mm.
They listen to like Aretha and Neville Brothers, Stevie Wonder. Like that was kind of the
Mm.
first, I think, exposure to music that I had as a kid.
Got
Um,
you.
my mom would like work out to it and stuff, and I would like climb on her and
Okay.
like a little baby.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I think that was kind of the first experience. And then I kept liking different things, like everything from classical music to like I started getting more into older like funk stuff, like 70s kind of stuff.
Right.
Somehow found this like compilation album that I don't know if you know Much Music, but it's kind of like the Canadian MTV.
Okay. No, I'm
So
not I'm not familiar.
it's, yeah, it's basically MTV, but like strictly music.
Dope.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, I watched that a lot. I watched music videos and just kind of like,
Mm.
I think for me, like in terms of like influence, like growing up, I think somebody like Pharrell was somebody that I really,
Definitely.
yeah, I just really loved like the clips and NERD and stuff, and how he kind of like mashed up sounds. Like
Definitely.
it's hip hop, but it's also not. Like I kind of like that.
Right.
Like the rock element was really cool. So
For sure. And
it's kind of all over the
I
place.
definitely for sure, and I respect it. I think Pharrell is a perfect example. It's like he is so broad. You can't put him in a box, and it's not just music; it's fashion too. It's like being a creative director, so that makes perfect sense. Why you like Pharrell. What's your favorite Pharrell song if you had to pick one?
I mean, I really like that the album that has like lap dance and stuff on it.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like
definitely,
Rockstar. I think those ones. I mean, they're kind of
for
similar.
sure.
I think like as a kid, I didn't realize that he was a producer as well. So like
Right,
I
right,
didn't
right,
really think
right.
about like what people did or what their roles were kind of in songs.
True.
And then because he also had vocals, so
Right.
it's weird that I just didn't really know what a producer was, I think. And like nobody
Hmm.
ever mentioned it. So
True.
I I'm really glad that I kind of like fell into that, because like I mean obviously I love it. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. And get into your own music. You recently released a 4-track EP called Hype Hop. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that. Talk about the title, the meaning.
Yeah. I mean, so I obviously produce a variety of music,
Right.
and I was sort of like, I mean, in my DJ sets, I perform EDM and hip hop. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what if I just remix my own tracks?
Got
Because
you.
like I've remixed for Rihanna and Ludacris and like some pretty big artists before, and I've done like
Yeah.
EDM versions of their records. So I'm like, why don't I just do
Mm.
that with my own songs, basically? So yeah, it happened like the BPM kind of fit as well for them, like the ones that I chose. Um, and yeah, I mean, the whole idea is that it's like, I mean, it is hip hop and there's rap on it, but
Right.
it's like a, dance beat on it. So it's kind of like G House, I guess. But
Got you.
I find like, I don't know if you listen to much G House or not, but a lot of the lyrics, like lyrically, it's not really
Mm.
as like
It's
interesting. It's
it's
usually
it's a
like,
vibe. Yeah.
yeah, like I went to the club, like put your hands up, like
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
Like,
It's a
yeah.
vibe.
So I was just thinking like if I just take something that like, you know, rappers I've worked with that they've
Hmm.
written on like more of a hip hop beat and then put a dance beat on it, I thought it was kind of cool idea. So
Definitely. And I definitely got a chance to check it out, and it was just like from the first one to the last track, it was definitely fun. Like it gave me party energy, but that was the difference. It was more, focused on the words as well.
mhm.
So my question would just kind of be like, how does that work putting everything together? Like, where do you start? Like, where do you even put the beat and the words? How do you put it together?
I mean, that's the probably the most complicated part that I found so far about doing
Gotcha.
like different genres of music. So like
Okay.
when I started producing EDM, like it was kind of like I just had to be like on my own basically. And you know, you just find
Right.
some samples with like somebody, you know, saying yeah or something, and you don't really
Mm,
need like a full top line. So I think like for me, the first vocalist I worked with in the studio was Martha Wash. So I
okay.
did like yeah, she was a singer from Black Box. So
Gotcha.
um EDM producers like sample her all the time. And I'm like, why don't I just
Mm,
try to like find her and work with her? So that was kind of
right.
my first experience like working with a vocalist. So I was kind of like
So,
shy and like uncomfortable and stuff. But now like
right.
obviously I've been working with a lot more artists and mostly rappers because I'm doing more hip hop now.
Right.
Um
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean it's difficult because like especially since I am an artist as well, that
Hmm.
like to sort of like figure out the balance between what I like and what like all of these other artists like and do it as a, like a collaborative process, I think is probably different than you know, if you're just a producer and you're like hired by somebody to make a beat. Because I
True.
also, you know, like I want it to feel like my project as well because I'm an artist and I perform. So that's probably like the most difficult thing.
Got
um
you.
but in terms of the process, like that could be, there's so many different ways that that could sort of happen. Like maybe
Right.
like I make a beat and then I go in the studio and play some stuff for somebody. Sometimes I just send it, you know, with COVID, like nobody was going to the studio. So
So true. Yeah.
a lot of people like record their own vocals now too, which is great. I think that's like,
True.
it's if you're an artist, like a recording artist, to be able to
Hmm.
record yourself and mix it well and stuff is like, it's really key and
Absolutely.
sort of a step forward than an artist that like needs to book a studio, you know.
Right. Exactly. And I wanted to backtrack too. You say you did mixes for like Rihanna and Ludacris.
Yeah.
Were you working hands on with these artists? How did that come together?
So Rihanna, I didn't actually meet her, unfortunately.
Okay.
I love her. I would love to
Oh yeah,
with her.
for
um
sure.
yeah, that one was through directly through Def Jam, so they had me do like
Gotcha.
a few remixes for their artists.
Dope.
Yeah, it actually was like #1 Billboard dance, which was amazing. It was like
Crazy.
cool. Yeah, and it's still going too, like I get people talking about it too like a couple of years after.
Nice. Nice.
Ludacris I was in the studio with. He's
Dope.
that was really exciting for me because like
I'm
I love,
sure.
as a kid, like I loved him, you know, and I still
Absolutely.
do. And
Yeah.
I mean, now he's acting and stuff too. Like he's very well rounded as well, and he's super
Right.
nice. And I had like a missed call from him on my phone, and he left a voice note, and I was like
Mm.
freaking out. I
Yeah.
was like, can I just like take the voice note and put a beat on it, and then try to like to
Right.
sample it?
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
super
Dope.
nice. He's very
Dope.
curious about how things work, and you know,
Gotcha.
I think he had his own label too when we released that.
DPP.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I think it was one of his first, it was Vitamin D. So um
Gotcha.
yeah, I think he had a lot of questions about like the whole process about like uploading it and that kind of thing. So it's
Hmm.
about
Okay.
general. So yeah, I was with him.
Dope.
Yeah.
Just like a student of the game for sure. And I think,
Yeah.
Ludacris, he had some of the best visuals like
Yeah.
ever. Like between him and Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes,
Mm-hmm.
one of the top, music videos ever. Ludacris definitely, that's what I remember about Ludacris just growing up to him. So that's
Yeah.
dope. That's
Busta
dope.
Rhymes too is really
Definitely.
he's come out to a couple shows that I've been performing at in New York too. I've seen him
Nice.
around and I'm like,
Nice.
what?
Right. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
So
funny
is
when
it
you like
I'm
meet
sorry.
people that yeah, it's just funny when you meet people that you grew up to or like that you look up to so
For
much.
sure.
I had that with
Mm-hmm.
Shaggy too and Sean Paul. I worked with those guys as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, they were huge in Toronto. Like, I mean, still are, like in the club, like they still play those songs and stuff from like,
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, because I've never been to Canada, not yet anyway, but I definitely always hear how big dance hall is in the club. So that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um
huge.
yeah, that's amazing. And it's like, it's dance hall it's big everywhere though. Like even I know when I moved to New York, because I'm originally from Ohio. So when I moved to New York, that was a culture shock for me, but I just didn't know. So dance hall was like the thing. It was to me bigger than hip hop at one point when I was there. So it's just interesting
Yeah.
to hear that.
I mean, I think
Um,
in Toronto too, like it's so like part of like it's on the radio, it's everywhere.
right, it's
So
big.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Snow
Is
was
it
also really big too.
said snow?
No, yeah, he's another artist that was really big. And I
Mm,
just remember there's like a couple artists like
so
constantly on the radio, like, you
got
know,
you. I have to check him out. I have to check him out. Are there any other artists that you haven't worked with yet that you want to? I know we mentioned Rihanna working directly with her,
yeah.
but anybody else?
I mean, Drake, like
Of
Toronto.
course, for sure,
Hi. So
for
uh
sure.
I mean Travis Scott, I love Travis Scott. Is like
Oh, that'd be dope.
he's kind of like an icon to me, like with his videos and like his whole vision with everything. I really like artists
Mm,
that are more than just like the music, and you can really
absolutely,
tell, that he does everything. He has his hand in everything that he does, which I really like. And I just like the
absolutely,
sound, what he does. I really like
for
the record
sure.
with MIA, that one he
Got you.
has. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
franchise.
yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. No, Travis Scott is amazing.
yeah. I mean, like
Just his
Cardi B
brand.
too, or like City Girls.
Dope.
Like
Okay. Yeah.
there's so many people. I'm
Mm,
I do want to produce like for other artists as well, like aside from just being like as an artist, but you
got
know,
you.
yeah, it's definitely
Got you.
something I'm interested in. It's just hard to kind of like have the time and the balance when you're like working on like 25 track album and you like
Right.
for yourself and then,
Definitely. I was going to ask you about the balance too, because, not only are you the creative person, I'm sure you're the business too. You got to know the business and handle the business. And also, too, I don't know for you, but if you wear different hats where it's like, okay, doing the business today, now I want to do the creative tomorrow. I don't know how you do that, but talk about your process and then how you balance that.
it's I'm still learning, I guess.
Hmm.
So I mean, I usually work really late. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually doing the creative side of it at night. Sort
Got
of
you.
just getting ideas out as fast as possible. Like I find that creatively, like that's kind of the best way to get something is when you're relaxed and there's no pressure and you can just kind of like get the ideas out. And
Right.
then later, like the next day, like go over it and be like, is this actually good? Like, or,
Right.
was
Right.
I
Right.
just
That
like
makes
on
sense.
some weird
That makes
tangent,
sense.
In terms of business stuff, yeah, I mean, I have a label partner, so
Got you.
we have a couple people sort of like handling it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still very hands-on though, so especially with like music videos, and I'm also interested in like fashion and stuff. And I've been trying to do more like sync work, like
Oh,
so,
definitely.
there's like
Definitely.
a lot of things like that that just are very time consuming. I basically don't have a life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really do anything fun other than hang out
Mm-hmm.
with like other artists. So
Right.
like that's fun for me. If I can go to the studio and like make something with somebody like that, that's more fun to me than going to a bar or something and just sitting there. So
I feel you.
yeah, yeah,
I get it. Trust me, I get it. And you brought up the record label as well. So let's talk about that. Mad Fatty, right?
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's
Funny
talk
name.
about the record label
Yeah,
and
I
the
mean,
name too.
yeah, the name's funny because my label partner and I, we both it doesn't make any sense, but we both really like malfatti pasta. So we were thinking of
Okay,
something we
that's
both
funny.
like, and then we were saying,
Gotcha.
mad because it's like crazy and it's like fat, the beats,
Mm-hmm.
just the words just seem to make sense to us.
Okay.
So we thought it was funny. um yeah, it was kind of just like it's not like a dream of mine to own my own label, but I think
Mm-hmm.
just for me to be able to release the kind of music I want to release, then it was sort of like a no-brainer. Like, why don't I just make my own platform? And I had so
Absolutely.
many artists like asking to work with me and produce stuff for them, and I was like, I kind of want a company where, if I'm going to be developing artists and
Mm-hmm.
working with them regularly, that I want a system where I can also kind of like build a crew. So like how Drake has OVO, that's kind of like,
Absolutely.
yeah, how I picture it. I mean, hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
you know
Right, for sure.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's a good scenario. But yeah, that's kind of it. Like I think it would be cool to sign other producers eventually and keep growing the roster and stuff. So I produce for the
Definitely.
artists that are like on Mad Fatty.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, like sometimes someone else does and they just send it to me, and I just sort of like A&R it. But um yeah, no, it's kind of like a new thing that I'm just gonna gradually grow and see where it goes.
Definitely, definitely. Just creating your own hub, your own system. I think that's very important.
Mhm.
Why not? That's the next
Yeah.
step. So I totally get it. Let's talk about this upcoming project that you have called Solo. I think it's supposed to release in November. What can we expect and why did you title it that?
Yeah, so solo, I guess the meaning of it would be sort of like me on my own, and it's kind of my first
Mm,
project.
okay.
I've been signed to major labels before and sort of had been pushed in directions and kind of all over the place. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this project, I was finally just like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna work with like my favorite artists that, I
Mm-hmm.
have songs with a lot of them already, but there's like two or three rappers on every song, and there's like a ton of people on it. A lot of Canadian artists,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like, I mean, it's I would say hip hop leaning, but I mean, again, like I always kind of mix stuff up, so it
Mm-hmm.
would be something with like a bit of like a, yeah, like a dance hall influence, a dance music influence, like little elements of things
Mm.
that, I don't love like genres. Like I don't like putting things in boxes because I always felt like,
Understood.
I always felt like I don't really fit anywhere. So like, why should my music?
Right.
Because
Mhm.
like I said, growing up in Toronto, it's just been like so many different influences, and like I don't
Right.
have like one particular thing that like I define as me, and kind of like I think what I am, and also kind of in some way what Canada is sort of like a mash of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like, I'm just like, I'm gonna embrace, the fact that I like so much stuff, and just kind of go with it, and hopefully people like it. Um, and yeah, so it's coming out, I think, end of November on my
Nice.
label, and
Dope.
yeah, I guess that sums it up.
Okay. Any special features that we can know about?
I mean, right now I have 26 tracks on it, so
Okay.
I'm trying to like narrow it down. So
Understood.
yeah, I mean, a lot of Canadian artists,
Mm-hmm.
Young Tory and Swaggerite and people like that. Boslin, he's a really really dope artist out of Vancouver.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, I have Fed the God recording a verse on the last track that I'm trying to wrap up right now.
Okay. Dope.
Yeah, he I love him. He's signed to Wiz Khalifa, and he's really
Dope.
talented. So yeah, I mean, there's no like Drake's on it, but like
Not
I
yet.
think not yet, no. I think for me,
Right.
it's more about just working with people I like right now, and getting it out,
Mhm.
like, and developing sort of the sound and that kind of thing, as opposed to like just, I know some people like want to just pay like a feature fee or something to get somebody big on it, but
Right.
um I don't, that doesn't, I don't really care about that stuff. So,
I
I mean, it
respect
would be
that.
great, but you know,
Yeah. Organic. Just,
yeah, exactly.
making it
Like
organic.
people that want to jump on it,
Hmm.
especially as a producer, because like if you're gonna pay, like if there's two people per track, you're gonna be spending like what,
It
hundred
gets
thousand dollars?
pricey. Oh yeah, it gets
Yeah,
really pricey. Then the mixing, mastering, everything. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a
exactly. Yeah.
lot. It's a lot. But no, definitely. Well, that's exciting. So we got that to look forward to in November. I would definitely love to ask, what would be some of your advice to other women or another young lady that might want to get into entertainment, into music? What would you tell her?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the most important thing is to be yourself. And
Mm,
what I think the reason I had a hard time in the beginning was because I was sort of looking at other influences, like females, to kind of like
mm,
look up to, and I didn't really see anybody that really felt like I could kind of emulate them. And like I felt so different than other people other women that I saw. So I think
mm-hmm,
just feeling like maybe that you don't have to look like somebody else that's famous, or sound like them, or act like them, is really important, if because we're all like so individual, right? And if you
mm-hmm,
are just yourself and you're authentic, like you can't, that's the best thing you can do. And if people
mm-hmm.
don't like it, then you're not going to make it, but at least you're not faking it, right? So
Right.
I think
True.
that I mean, that's still hard for me sometimes. Like, I even just seeing so many female artists with like, everyone's so critical about
Oh
female,
yeah.
like
Right, right,
it's like you're either too ugly, too pretty, too
right.
whatever.
Anything.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk about absolutely everything, and it
True.
doesn't even matter what you are. Like, some people will find things to hate on you
So
about.
true.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you're just you, then there's not much to hate on, like,
Right,
then it's like, if you don't like it, then don't consume it. So
right.
yeah, I think people like Coi Leray and Billie
Definitely like
Eilish as
Chloe.
well. Yeah, I
For
think
sure.
Coi is, she's so cool and so herself, and
She's just
different.
her.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no like butt
Exactly.
implants,
Right.
like
Just her. So true.
yeah. But I
Yeah,
like, those kind of artists that are really, themselves.
definitely. I love it. I love it. And I have a final question I would like to ask. I ask all of my guests this question. The name of our show is called The Progress Report. We talk about growth and getting better, and being better as well. So, what does the word progress mean to you?
I mean, I would say being open-minded, um,
Mm,
and not judging people too hard,
mm,
and sort of like, I think equality and anything kind of moving toward like equal opportunity is like a progression to me. Yeah, I
dope.
think, yeah.
Nice, nice. I love it. I love it. Well, it's definitely been a pleasure speaking to you. Hopefully we can meet each other in person next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Until the next time, I really appreciate it.
The Progress Report.